Hi guys, welcome to another episode of Karaoke Q&A, and I'm challenged when it comes to speaking. I've got Joni with me. We also have David Grimes. He is the marketing director with Digitrax.
Yes.
He wears a lot of hats sometimes, but welcome to our show, David.
It's very good to be here.
Yeah, we're glad to have you. Wanted to find out, get a little backstory on David. Tell us a little bit about you.
All right. Well, when it comes to music, it's something I've been involved in all my life. My earliest and best memories are singing in church, actually. And then I know if you're from the Southeast like I am, that's probably your first memory of singing as well. But, my parents were singers both themselves. And so a lot of the things we did around the house were centered around music. I mean, I can't tell you the number of times that we cleaned house with the record player going, right? Yeah. Because of the extra motivation or whatever. And to this day, I still have to vacuum every time I hear Jackie Gleason for Lovers Only. So, don't tell my wife that, though. She'll use that trick against me. Learned to play a couple of instruments, picked up piano and keyboards, learned bass guitar, that sort of thing. And like probably most young men from my generation, I was in a band when I was younger, right out of high school, and we did some gigging and stuff like that. Later on, went into the business world. I started out in unit management in food service, like a lot of people do. That's a lot of people's first real job, so to speak, and learned a lot about how to run a business doing that. Controlling cost and things of that nature. So later on, went into some graphic arts and worked in that field for a while, doing designing billboards and campaigns and things like that for some major people like Maker's Mark and stuff like that. Oh, can we actually say trademarks around? I don't know.
I think we can because this isn't TV. This is
okay. Great. Yeah. Then bleep that out. Otherwise, and then got into the newspaper field, and I was a newspaper publisher. I owned my own newspaper. It was a small weekly here in Knoxville. That was probably one of the best business experiences of my life because that gave me an opportunity to do something that I hadn't really had to do before, which was network with a lot of people, and that was really, really good for me too. As the way the internet began to change pretty much every business in creation, it taught me how important personal networks were. And then, of course, the internet went and changed the newspaper business and turned it upside down.
Yes, it did.
And I managed to make we'll call it a graceful exit from the newspaper business. But some of the connections that I'd built up while I was a publisher allowed me to move pretty much immediately into the old Chartbuster regime. And stuck with that company until they closed their doors. And then when Digitrax Entertainment was going to take over the assets of Chartbuster, they said, hey, this guy does a good job. We'll keep him around, which I was very grateful for. And is a good reason why to always do a good job, even when your company is maybe going to close its doors. And I've been here ever since the founding, since the very first day. And it's, like you said, wear a lot of hats, but every day is an adventure. No question.
Now, are you a karaoke singer?
Definitely a karaoke singer. And in fact, classic rock is
Nice.
is my thing. I do the classic rock. And that's, for me, karaoke and singing on stage is just a chance to interact with the songs that I love and maybe live out the occasional rock star fantasy just a little bit. That didn't have pretty good response, so I don't sing terrible, but
you have skin in the game.
I do have skin in the game. That's right.
Yeah. So you're kind of indebted to the karaoke industry a little bit.
I'd say a lot, really.
Yeah. Okay.
Not just from because that's how we put bread on the table.
Right.
Well, I'm gluten free, so it's not actually bread. But the thing is, I really like the karaoke culture. Because I feel like the act of going on stage and singing a song is something that really speaks to me. I mean, it was something that I hugely enjoyed doing when I was in my own band. I was fortunate enough to be the lead singer and the keyboard player and stuff like that. That response that you got from the crowd, that energy that you felt, I mean, that was something you really can't get any other way.
Right.
I mean, Are we PG-13 here?
No.
In some ways, it's better than sex. You know, it's different, but in some ways, it's actually better. And that kind of energy that you just feed off of it night after night after night.
Right.
No one ever has to poke me in the ribs with the elbow to get me to go up on stage and sing a
Right.
song, because I'm pretty much always ready to do that, just so I can feel that energy.
Music is emotion.
Music is emotion. That's exactly right. Music is a connection, whether it's what the song is saying or the kind of tone that the music itself sets, independent of the lyrics. I feel like you have a connection. You have an emotional connection with the songs that you sing that you love, whether you're singing them on a karaoke stage or you're doing it behind the wheel of your car, or it's in the shower, or you're holding up a hairbrush, in your bedroom in front of the bureau mirror, or whatever it is.
I don't do that all
I
the
did that
time.
as a girl.
I
As a young girl.
I totally still do that. My wife makes fun of me for that all the time.
I used to get the old tape deck that, the push play and record at the same time, and I'd sing into it by myself and then play it back and go.
Me too. Totally did that.
Okay, I did that too. I did that too.
Awesome.
If we didn't do that, you got to have a love of music,
Yeah.
and that's what this business is all about.
That's right.
And I've seen the emotion in you on that, and the way you're talking about it. What's happening in the industry right now?
A lot.
Yeah,
A lot.
and I know with marketing, you see what's going on. Tell us a little bit about where you see karaoke headed right now.
Ooh, okay.
We know where it's been.
Yeah, and we know where it is.
Yep.
Where it's going, well, I think probably the biggest change for karaoke has been the fact that we all carry around enough computing power in our pockets right now, more than all the moonshots combined. Okay,
Yes.
Everyone's got a smartphone, and that is a type of leverage for not just for music and for karaoke, but for a lot of different things. I think it's completely transformed the karaoke landscape, because karaoke is now not just restricted to a specific place and time. It's become something that can be done anytime you want to.
On demand.
On demand, exactly. And I think the companies that respond to that new opportunity are going to be the ones that are carrying us forward, as karaoke continues to evolve. You guys know this, and I'm not telling you tales out of school. Karaoke used to carry some negative connotations with it, right?
Oh yeah.
And
I think it still does.
it still does to
Yeah.
some degree. And people associate it with, for lack of a better term, drunken revelry. Okay, and that's probably the worst of it. And then occasionally, if you're like me and you have karaoke as one of your keywords in your Google News, you get these very alarming stories from overseas about things that happen associated with a karaoke place. And I'm talking shootings and stabbings and all kinds of things, right? And thank goodness we don't have those here. But, karaoke is now evolving in the mass consciousness, if I can use one of my words from college. The zeitgeist has changed a bit, okay? And now it's much more universally accepted. If you look at shows like The Voice and X Factor and American Idol, they've made it very, very mainstream, okay? And even though the particular word karaoke wasn't attached to that, and curse you Simon Cowell for trying to use that as a dirty word,
I know.
Yeah.
that was that.
Yeah.
Bad form, dude. Bad form. It's really what it was. It's what it was, right? Okay. So I think it's made it karaoke in general much more acceptable activity and behavior that doesn't carry the negative connotations that it used to. And I think that's important to remember going forward as well. It can be seen as a family style of entertainment, and I think that really broadens the horizons for what we can do.
Yeah, I think at one point we saw maybe a slight decline in the popularity of it, maybe through the mid-aught years, and then all of a sudden with the technology and the younger generation being more attuned to it, we've seen a resurgence that's gone from here to here.
Yes.
And I know you guys are doing a lot in technology, and you guys are doing a lot staying forward. You're looking forward to 2020 and things like that, and where the technologies are going to be.
We really are. I mean, if you look at the demographic that's coming up now, the millennials is usually the term that they used to refer to them. They swim in an ocean of data. They've never known a world where they couldn't instantly reach out and access pretty much any data point that you can
A lot of
think
them don't
of.
know what a CD is anymore.
Exactly. Well, and they don't need to.
No.
And that's okay.
Right.
There's nothing wrong with that.
Right.
They're not. I think if you go back to our second karaoke summit, we referred to it as the end of the age of plastic, and that plastic being that plastic CD or the vinyl record or whatever media that the music was bound to is no longer bound to that.
Yeah,
right?
and that's obvious. You walk into a Target and they have this many CDs. It's like,
They don't have the department.
yeah.
They have music, and it's you can buy a gift card from iTunes,
Yeah.
or a gift card from Amazon. That's our music department
Yeah.
now.
And it's, to be honest with you, I think it's better.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, instead of having to, and I've worked in record stores, I've managed record stores before, and instead of having to worry about, do I stock this, do I not stock this? Well, it's all there on the cloud.
It's the cloud.
And that was one of the major things that we did when we first started Digitrax, was we said, okay, we have to digitize our catalog. And that was a massive undertaking, okay? It required going through and digitally remastering everything and getting it ready for the digital age, because it wasn't enough just to take those old sound recordings and throw them up as an MP3 plus G. That wasn't going to cut it.
Right.
Okay? People demand more and they demand better.
Well, you had to get licensing for them again.
The licensing had to be redone, everything. I mean, those don't transfer company to company.
Right.
Those are non-transferable licenses.
Mm-hmm.
So the since we were going to do it anyway, and we had to digitize the catalog, we went ahead and digitally remastered it all, so it sounds a lot better than it used to. Okay, and then if you not many people have a hi-fi anymore, right? Most people are using smaller modular things for music, or they're listening through earbuds. Hopefully they have higher quality ones, because let's face it, those things are pretty cheesy. The ones that you get with the phone, especially.
Yes.
But the digital remastering actually allowed us to go back and tweak some things and make some tracks actually a little bit better than they were before, because we still had the multi-tracks, which was something that very few companies had the vision to realize were going to be valuable down the line. Okay? And that's allowed us to do some really exciting things that we're doing now with things that are called stem mixes. Are you familiar with the term?
No.
Stem? Okay, so let's say I was going to put together a 4-track stem of a song. Take the drums and put them on one stem. Take the guitar and put it on another. Take the vocal and put it on a third. And take the bass and put it on a fourth. And I probably shouldn't have made the bass the last one because I'm a bass player, but
It's all about the bass.
what that allows me to do, it is all about the bass, and you can believe Megan Traina about that. Remind me to tell you a funny story about someone trying to search for All About That Bass on our website so they could download the single and spelling it B-A-S-E and getting no result. Bless their heart. I was like, they were probably from the South, and they think that word is a fish.
Could be.
Yeah, it's all about that bass.
All about that bass.
Is what it was. But since we redigitized everything, that allows us to make stems. We still have our multi-tracks. And if I've got stems, then there are a lot of really cool things I can do with that. When you think of karaoke, okay, it was those 4-track stems, only I dropped out the vocal stem, right? Okay, and that's a karaoke track. What if I dropped out the bass? What can I do with something like that? Well,
Live band karaoke.
Live band karaoke. And you can actually use it in conjunction with some really cool hardware that's being made now by manufacturers like Behringer and PV and places like that will allow you to take those stems, plug them into the hardware, and say, oh, you know what, bass? Dropping that volume right out. Now the bass player's live. And maybe your karaoke night is a guy with an acoustic guitar.
Right.
Right?
That's genius, because there are people that love to perform but can't sing.
Exactly.
So that gives them an outlet as well.
Exactly.
So you have the vocals, you have the bass, you have the drums, and then
And the
you
guitar
have him
player
play the
gets to
lead
get out and
guitar
shred.
because you've taken the lead guitar out.
You got it. You got it. Or 2 people come up, one to sing, one to play. Right? So we think that expanding that kind of horizon and the amount of possibilities that are available are something that we really are looking very hard at going forward. Live band karaoke, you can drop everything or anything out of that mix.
That's
okay,
amazing.
and what we're looking at are not just 4-track stems, but 8 and 16-track stems as well. So full ensembles can be done. Okay, maybe it's your horn player got drunk and can't make it to the show. No problem. Here's the click track. Everybody else in the band is there, and the horns are available for you as well.
That's cool. That's cool. There's
Can
all
be a
kinds
nice
of possibilities
backup
with
because
that,
horn players are always doing
So I could
that.
use that for my band then, my
Yeah,
actual band.
absolutely.
Like, I want to play the song, but we don't have the keys.
There you go. There you go. And that's actually
There you go.
one of the main things that we think is going to drive that market.
Okay.
Is if I want to do a show like, say, if I want to do a coffee shop kind of gig, and it's me and I'm my acoustic guitar, and then I've got a drummer who plays maybe bongos or congas, but I need those keys. I don't have the keys because that one key, that stab that I need for the verse or for the chorus is going to be missing, and I don't want to simulate it. I'd rather just have it there. People will recognize the song and they'll get into it more. All I need is just the 4-track or the 8-track stem, and I can do
I
that.
love it.
Or the drummer's missing. You know, like I've got a vocal and a guitar, but gosh, we got to have something to hold down the bottom end there for that rhythm, right? Not a problem. It's handled.
So it's more than just karaoke.
Well,
yeah. Taking it to another level.
Yeah.
We kind of think of it as broadening what karaoke actually means.
Yeah, well,
okay, because it's a good term,
empty orchestra.
right? Empty
Right.
orchestra, exactly,
Right.
exactly. So, you know, maybe a few pieces of the orchestra are there, and the rest of them are gone. Or maybe all but one of them are sitting in their chairs and they're ready to go when the conductor lifts his baton.
And it's almost like more like a live performance as opposed to just a flat track, a backing track.
Yeah.
And then they're singing over the vocals.
Yeah, absolutely. And then, you know, maybe I just need the background vocals. Maybe that's all I need. I just need some help with the harmonies.
Mm-hmm.
I got every other pieces in place.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of opportunities there.
Yeah, I've had people that have asked me, you know, can I have it without the background singers, or can I have it with the background singers? So you get options like that. I mean, just in your basic karaoke show.
Well, quite often we here at Digitrax we will make the track with both. We have A, B, C, and D mixes that we refer to them as, and depending on we won't always put one of the alternate tracks available up for sale, but if you contact us, we can almost always make it available to you. So if you've got a particular song that you've got a request for that doesn't have backing that should, or has them and shouldn't, if you get in touch with them, we've probably made that track.
Okay.
Okay. So
that's good to know.
More than
Because
happy.
I get people sometimes that they want to sing, but they just can't. They can sing along with somebody, but they can't carry it themselves. And like, don't you have it with a? I'm like, it's karaoke, not really.
We always have.
Some of the old multiplex did, but
Well, here's something that you may not know. When we're scrolling the track, we have to have the lead vocal in there somewhere for the scroller to listen to, so that they make sure that they time the words correctly on the lyric wipe, right? So we always record a lead vocal. All right. Do we always release it? No, we don't. A lot of times that's going to depend on, do we have a singer who can simulate that voice well enough so
it's
that
me.
Right.
there you go.
I can come do it.
You got
I
a
can
new
come
job.
down and do that.
Right after we finish here. Okay.
Right.
I got a whole bunch of them scrolled up for you.
I know that at one time Chartbuster
Yeah.
had the CDs, and it was a multiplex,
Yes.
and it was the karaoke track. So that's really cool. There's a lot of stuff going on. And of course, the cloud. Is,
yeah.
The cloud
Well,
is just
we talked
going
about it earlier. We
full
want
bore.
everything to be available to you all the time on demand. It's
Yeah,
kind of weird.
there's different levels of the cloud. Explain that, because I know like for me and Hal and I, no, me and Hal. For me,
Sure, whatever.
I'm going to
I'll
get
go with
you
it, yeah.
and also Hal.
and
Yeah.
for the both of us.
Yeah.
Actually, I mean, we have such large libraries, and we've been doing it for a long time.
Oh,
so
yeah.
we get the we both using CompuHost, and so I call it Technical Tuesday. Every Tuesday I go through and I do all my downloads. I do my trivia downloads. I do my my Karaoke Cloud downloads and contracts. I don't look forward to the contract part of the karaoke or Technical Tuesday. However, so then when people come to me on a show and like, do you have this song? And I look and I go, oh, I do now. Then I just unlock it and I have it, which is great, you know, because you buy the credits ahead of time. That's how I use it. But there's other ways for other people to use it.
Oh yeah, with full-blown subscription, it doesn't even matter.
Right.
You do need an internet connection. If you don't already have it tethered on that machine, you'll need to fetch it from the cloud so that but it stays resident on the machine, so you don't have to fetch it again.
Right.
We satisfy our licenses because that's encrypted. It's only accessible through that particular piece of software, and only as long as your subscription remains active. Okay, and it drops dead otherwise.
Right.
It's the only way you can license this music. Right. And you know, I see some criticism for that. It's like, oh, you don't own the library. Well, no, actually, that's true. You have access to it, and I think that's maybe a little bit where people who are from mine and Hal's generation might have a disconnect with the millennials that we talked about earlier, who really aren't concerned with the ownership. You know, they just want to have access to it. They want to have
Some
it
of
when
them
they
don't
want
own
it.
their stuff right now anyway.
That's true. Well, I know for a fact that 100% of the KJs in this room buy their music. So I think we're happy with that.
Okay.
Sure.
So, you know, you guys own your music, and it used to be a collector thing, right?
Yeah.
And me, I'm a huge vinyl collector.
Yes.
And to me,
Yes.
it was the ownership that was important, because I felt like, I guess, a hunter-gatherer, just hand me a spear or something, and I'll go into the jungle, come back with my music.
Trophies.
Right,
Trophies,
right. They were
yeah.
trophies,
Okay.
exactly.
CDs.
Well, you know, back in the day when it was vinyl albums, you had the gatefold, you had maybe a lyric sheet, all kinds of neat stuff that went with it. Just talk to me about my Alice Cooper records,
Yeah,
right?
yes.
With the $1 Billion Bill and the school's out. Oh yeah, exactly. So that doesn't happen anymore in most cases. I mean, there are bands who will do with original music. They'll do something very special for their fans who are willing to pony up, say, $40 or so for the special box set
Right.
or the the gold edition or whatever it may be. But for the most part, people just want to have that emotional connection with the song, and all they need for that is playback.
Well, they're using
Access to it and play it back.
these
They're
devices
using
as
those
opposed
devices.
to using a
Right,
turntable
exactly.
or a CD player and things like that.
Exactly.
And I know it was for me, the transition from CDs to digital media was a hard transition to make.
Yeah.
And I've made that jump, and I'm there now.
Yeah.
But you know what though? If somebody came to me back in 1990 when I started and said, "Okay, look, you can buy this Laserdisc for $150 with 28 songs on it, and then you can just keep adding to your collection at $150 a pop, or you can have this entire collection, which kind of renting. It's kind of like a lease program, and you only pay this much a month. I mean, do the math. It's insane.
It works out in your favor to the point where
Yeah.
if you were to legitimately buy all the tracks you have access to for $99 a month, right? It works out to the point where you'd have to rent the music for 30 years to reach your break-even point with buying it
Absolutely.
all, right?
Absolutely.
So, how much has your music collection evolved over the past 5 or 10 years, much less
Right.
over the last 30? So, I mean, and
And
your
it's
playback
faster and
methods,
faster and
right?
faster. The evolution has
exactly.
become very- much
exactly.
faster.
If you look at what you were playing music on 30 years ago, you might be hard pressed to find new music that would play on that same device, right? So, have you seen a cassette lately?
Eight-track
They're kind of
player?
hard to find.
8 tracks.
Yeah, well, okay, 8-tracks is
Oh,
another
wow.
good
Have you
example.
seen 8-track?
He's a little older than us.
A little, well, my first car had an 8-track player.
Mine did too.
So, yeah,
it was
absolutely.
My green Volkswagen had 8-track. That's the first thing that went in there. That Craig 8-track
Yeah,
tape player
you know
had
it.
to go. It was the FM converter because I only had an AM
Yeah,
radio. It's the
yeah.
FM converter with the 8-track.
Do you mind, can you just fathom the difference between going from an album and trying to find where you want to learn the part of the song
Yeah.
with a needle
Yeah,
to the
yeah,
8-track?
yeah.
Forget about
Yeah,
it.
it wasn't gonna. There was no backing up.
To now
Yeah.
the digital age where you have the music
can
wave and you
scroll
just
and
go
you can drag the-
bing.
drag the line back.
Like unbelievable.
And you have the cloud with all this huge library of wonderful songs. People can still purchase those songs on a
Absolutely.
one-to-one.
Absolutely.
They can still
Yeah,
purchase those
absolutely.
as well.
If
Well,
somebody, I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say we don't want to take choices away.
Right.
Right.
And if it is ownership that you're about, then absolutely, yeah, we're more than happy to sell you one that you can keep forever.
Right.
That's
Right.
not a problem for us.
I saw somebody on Facebook's at one of the karaoke sites saying something that she purchased songs, and she was using not the software we use. I forget which one. And some of her songs that she already purchased disappeared. I don't know what that's about, but have you had any complaints about that?
Yeah, occasionally. I mean, licensing is a fluid thing, right? And we'll take a particular popular artist
Would
who
it be-
just released an album with a number as the title.
20.
20 something. That was a case where the artist was still trying to gain acceptance, and karaoke was okay. And then the artist gained acceptance and decided, well, maybe I'll change my mind about that. Okay, and take your guess as to what the motivation was for it. Me as a
Cha-ching.
business person, I kind of don't like to leave money on the table, but again, it's
But
if
why
it's
doesn't she make her own karaoke CD and sell it?
well, it's definitely her intellectual property to do with as she decides, and I would never even want to suggest that someone should not have control over that. Because if you absolutely don't want it sold, fine, we totally respect that. I mean, we're creators ourselves,
Right.
Right.
We
Right.
create content.
Right.
We would never say to someone, "Oh, you don't have the right to determine how it's going to be used." We feel just the opposite.
Right.
Okay. What we think is it's a poor business decision because you are leaving that money on the table. And if it were an issue of original artist karaoke, which some artists are smart enough to actually do, I could think Taylor Swift, Disney is really good about that on their releases.
Yeah, but even on some of the Disney stuff that I buy from Disney,
Right.
it doesn't have the words,
They-
like copyright or whatever. I'm like, really?
I think they don't quite understand the paradigm under which it's most typically going to be used.
They still there's probably still a they look at karaoke as that subculture, and they haven't quite bought into the program yet, but they're missing that revenue.
They are.
They're
Well,
totally missing the revenue.
my guess would be, and Disney's a very smart company, and my guess would be that most of their focus groups have been with children in front of their televisions in their homes, in which, in a case like that, it's probably more acceptable to have that particular kind of video instead.
Right.
and that would be my guess.
Right.
I really want to get Adele on the show. If you know Adele,
Have Adele call us.
email us or something. Have her
Anything.
people
Call our people. Yeah.
Because there's so many artists that do this, and I see both perspectives, but I see the singer's perspective more than the artist. I mean, the karaoke singer, because I've had sometimes people sing a song that nobody knows, and
Yes.
people are like, oh my God, who sang that song? Who sang that song? I got to go buy that album.
Got to go buy that album.
So you're
Right,
getting more
right.
exposure too, and sometimes it's bad, sometimes it's a bad singer, and I get that. But any exposure is exposure. Any exposure is good exposure. Good or bad, it's still out there.
Well,
Yeah.
we talked a little bit earlier about the direction that the karaoke industry is going in, and this relates back to that, okay? What we're seeing is, as the music industry is operating on tighter and tighter margins because of the losses of those kinds of revenue, right? They tend to be a little bit more willing to look at alternate sources of revenue, such as karaoke licensing. And we think that that's going to only grow as time goes on. Karaoke, as you said, it increases the exposure of that particular song, but also for that artist, okay, the original artist. For the songwriter, certainly it does. I mean, that shows on the screen,
Right.
right?
Right. I wait sometimes to see who wrote it.
There you go.
You know?
There you go. Oh my goodness gracious! I can't believe Bruno Mars wrote that song.
Right.
Right? Have you
Right.
seen that
Right.
one? Right.
Right.
So the opportunity is there for them to increase something that every artist says they're chasing, which is engagement, right? Engagement with their fans, and there is no better engagement than someone singing your song
Right.
in front of people.
Right.
I mean, you know what the number one fear is, right? It's not death. It's not divorce. It's public speaking.
Yes.
It's public
Yes.
and karaoke is no different. You're up there performing in front of a crowd, okay?
Right.
So for someone to take that step of overcoming that fear because their relationship with that song was so strong, and yes, maybe they need a little liquid courage to get them over the fence, right? But that is a level of engagement you can't get anywhere
Right.
else.
Again, it's that emotional engagement. It's all the way around.
It
it's
all
that
comes
emotional
back to that.
engagement.
Yeah.
So,
So wait, I have one more
Yeah,
question.
yeah.
Not to give you any more work,
Oh.
but people ask me for songs like I forget
We're
what there's
about
a
to
track.
wrap up, too.
There's a track on Animal House that I can't think of it right now, but I'll get with you on that. But
Okay.
can people, if they want a song and they get many requests for it, can they email you?
They absolutely can. They can go to any one of our websites and put
Okay.
their request in, or a Facebook page, or a Twitter feed, and send it to us at our attention.
Okay.
Okay, just tag us
okay.
and put in a hashtag song request. Right.
Okay.
Nice.
Our people immediately go and look and see if it's licensable. If it is, and it looks like a viable tune, we'll put it out for
Awesome,
Right.
fantastic.
you. Right.
David, thank you so much for
My
coming out and
pleasure.
being with
It's
us.
great to be here.
Thank you
with
so
You know
much.
you're my favorite people. Right?
You're my favorite
Yeah,
people, too.
you're a great guy.
He thinks it's him, but
Yeah, it's all about Joni. It's all about Joni. Guys, that was our episode of Karaoke Q&A. Email us. Let us know what you think of the shows.
KaraokeQnA at
gmail.com. Exactly. That is it. Yeah.
QN, not ampersand.
And so, guys, have a great day. Thanks for tuning in.
Thanks, guys.
See ya.
Bye.